Got on my leather jacket Thriller. The show ain't nothing Miller. Man, I'm a lady killer. If I want her, I'm a stealer. I promise I can make her fly away like caterpillars. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Get familiar. All right, everyone. Hi. Happy 4th of July weekend. And today we are getting familiar with somebody who is like a brother to me and who I've known for many, many years. His name is Joe Stormin Norman, and he is a fixture in the biker community. He's an American businessman, and he's an avid motorcyclist, and he's ridden a motorcycle all throughout the country. I can't say his motorcycle. He's ridden his motorcycle through the country, but a motorcycle in many other countries. And he's here today to talk to us about patriotism, about what's going on now with the Black Lives Matter movement, what's going on with the Marxist movement, what's going on with crime, the defund the police, COVID and how it's affecting business. We're just going to run the gamut, and I can't think of anybody else better to run that gamut with than you, my brother, Joe Stormin Norman. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Hello, darling. How are you? This is kind of weird for me, but it's all good. But thank you. I'm kind of shy, as everybody knows, a little bit. Not really. But how's everything? Hello, everybody.
Yeah, well, everything is great. You're coming to people. Tell people where you are right now.
I'm in northern Illinois, in the Wisconsin border, a little town called Antioch, Illinois. Pure Americana, if that's where you want to go. It's called the Chain of Lakes. I'm actually in the middle, literally on the border of 45 minutes south of me. I'm in downtown Chicago. 45 minutes north of me, I'm in downtown Milwaukee. So we're right in the middle of it, and it's like the heartbeat of America is definitely here. All your big major companies are hubbed right here, because as we know, O'Hare Airport is the central of the country, considered, and so you see everything here, pretty much. Absolutely.
So you, tell us a little about yourself, Joe, because you did what so many people are doing. You were a native New Yorker, born in New York. Worked in New York City government in construction, and you decided that was it. I'm pulling up stakes and I'm moving to the Midwest. Talk to us about your life in New York and what made you make the change.
I was born in Staten Island, a little town called Tottenville, which is still there. And I like to say the old Tottenville, as us Tottenville people call it, back in the day when nobody was there. No one knew we were at it's the last town in New York State, to be exact. I love growing up in Staten Island. It was the best thing for all of us. We had a really good time. And when Staten Island, I like to say, was when Staten Island was Staten Island, obviously. But if you say that now, people get mad. But it wasn't as crowded, obviously. We still had horses. We used to be able to ride on the beach and take old cars and ride around, never had a problem. The precinct in Tottenville was famous for they had a screen door, the only precinct with a screen door, and it was great growing up. I mean, back then,
it has a bulletproof door, unfortunately.
I'm sure it does. Growing up in Staten Island was great. I mean, it was, part of New York. We want to go goof off in the city, which we all call the city, Manhattan, obviously, and over to Brooklyn. But we had a good time in Staten Island. If you got in trouble, it was the cops grabbed you if they can get you, and if they didn't get you, they'll wait to get you. But back then were the times when they got more satisfaction throwing you in a car and bringing you back to your house and watch your old man kick your ass, which is maybe that's needed now. Who knows? But you got to watch what you say in this world these days. And so I grew up there, loved every minute of it. Was doctoral it's almost 30 years. I retired at the New York City Department of Transportation ferry operations. I was what they call city dock builder, maintained both sides of the ferry terminals, City Island, where any city-owned piers that we maintained. It was the greatest job in the world. I worked with the greatest guys in the world by far. I was also the vice president of the New York City Department of Transportation Hispanic Association for the whole city, which was interesting. It was fun. And everyone looks at me, and yes, I'm a Hispanic American. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm actually a citizen of Puerto Rico as well. And in 2011, actually, I got hurt in 2010. As you know, we go by Coast Guard regulations, and I was able to try to stay on. I'm the only guy at DOT, they said, that got hurt and wanted to try to stay on the job the hardest way because I love my job. So anyway, they told me that you're done and what have you. And my Jenny, who I'm with now, with forever. Sorry, I'll say
That's
that.
right.
It was a long distance relationship. She was out here. I've been coming out here for 25 years with my friends in Wisconsin and Illinois, and we obviously met at a motorcycle safety conference. We both there to teach. She was teaching a class. I went into the class. I wasn't supposed to be there. I disrupted the class as my way I am. And
No, you disrupted? Never.
yeah. I thought I knew more than everybody else. That kind of fun stuff. Anyway, what have you? A relationship, a long distance relationship started from there, and to which the point she was actually going to move to New York. And again, the city, my situation. And then as I'm laying there, I just said one day, and a couple of friends of mine, I just said, "Why am I going to stay?" You know, I mean, retired. You look at everything ahead of time, and I love coming out here. And I told her at the last minute when she had a job waiting on Park Avenue and everything at an accounting firm. I said, "Don't come here." She's like, "Why? You're breaking up with me?" And I was like, "Well, no." I said, "I'm going to come there," and everybody was in shock. I took the leap of faith. I didn't think, to be honest with you. I just did it. And when you grow up on the same place your whole life, a long time, and you just take that one leap to go 900 miles to the middle of the country, it was pretty bold. And I don't regret a day of it. I surely, truly believe that I added a minimum of 10 years to my life, because it was in the big city, and obviously New York City, which I still was, well, I don't know about now, but it was the greatest city in the world. And I wouldn't change a thing back then. But everything's hustle, move. You don't realize the stress that you have inside you, because we're always on the go, you know. And it's not until you move and get away from it, and you sit down and, like we say, smell the roses a little bit, just smell the air, smell everything. You realize, wow, you know, it takes you a year or so to slow down, you know. And I added years to my life without a doubt. And the people out here I mentioned about growing up in Tottenville. This little town reminds me of where I grew up in Tottenville. When I first got out here, it was I compare it to the movie with Steve Martin, My Blue Heaven. You know, you're going into the supermarket, you're going to the stores, and everybody's helping you. "Can I help you, sir?" And they surround you like, "Yo, back up." You know what I mean? Get the, you know, that kind of thing. But it's everyone's polite. Everybody out here in the middle of America, like everyone calls it the flyover states and everything. But they take their pride very seriously. They take their country very seriously. They take their patriotism very seriously. They're farmers. I'm surrounded by soybean farms, corn farms, obviously 40 lakes, and hardworking people out here. What they want to do, they want to get up in the morning early. They want to do their work. They want to come home. They want to provide for their families. They want to get on their motorcycles. Everyone out here's got a motorcycle, all right? Or they want to get on their boats, and they want to enjoy life to the best of their ability. You know what I mean?
But how does that compare to New York? I mean, you know, life in New York, you know, yes, Staten Island, Tottenville, especially old Tottenville, was, you know, a kind of small town community. But we in Staten Island share a Republican conservative kind of point of view, where the rest of New York City doesn't. What was it like for you, a conservative-minded kind of guy, to wind up moving to a place where you were surrounded with people who thought similarly to you for the first time ever?
It was easy, I can tell you that. There was, and here's the beauty of it. In the world we live in now, it's to the point that no matter what comes out of your mouth, you're wrong, you're racist, you're this, you're that, or what have you. We could tell these people protesting now, or anybody who's going to shoot their mouth off, I could turn around and say, "Look at that beautiful blue sky. It'd be a perfect sky out there." And they go, "Yeah, but no, it's got a little green in it," and they'll argue with you, or they'll agree with you and always try to make a switch. Out here, when we talk about the silent majority, I guess you want to use that, which is here commonly all the time, I have to say that's definitely here. It's people that take it. Listen, what comes first to being an American, and what people are forgetting, is you need to take care of your family first. Family values have gone out the window, as we know. Okay, that you can variate that in different ways because of the way the world changes. I get all that. But here first, take care of the family first, and everything else comes after that. And if you drive around, you want to see Trump signs. You want to see the side of a barn that says Trump 2020. I mean, they're farmers, and they're the hardest working people. Let me tell you something. I mean, no joke. When they're talking, they're up when it's dark, and they go to bed when it's dark. It gets done. And everyone, basically, especially in a big city, you take that for granted, that the stuff that comes on your table comes out of a box anything, where it comes from. You know what I mean? All you know is that I go down to the store and I buy and I pick it up and I pay my price or what maybe. You got to think about the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's here. And yeah, it's definitely a change. Now you want to talk about Chicago. I understand you want to get to that part. It's Chicago itself, downtown Chicago is gorgeous. I'm being honest with you. It is.
Oh, I agree. It's one of my favorite cities. Was.
It is clean as a whistle. Okay. But obviously, just like I like to compare it to Manhattan for the fact that you have to go over the waterway to get downtown. The same way one of the bridges as well. The same way get on to Manhattan. But that part is beautiful, and the people around there are great. The crime rate, which is through the roof, we actually get every Monday since I've been living here. We get the murder report and the shooting report every Monday morning on the local news, and you kind of get used to it because it's just a norm. You wake up on Monday, okay, let's see what happened for the weekend. You know. But that's, I'm going to tell you straight out, it's a drug thing. It really is. I mean, if you look where the basis of it is, it's in the South Side, way south, and what people don't realize, it borders Gary, Indiana. Okay, and Gary, Indiana, I don't even know about Gary, Indiana. It's not a nice little city, I can tell you that. And that's where they say with the guns, because of the more lax laws, gun laws in Indiana, it's a lot easier. You hear it all, yada yada yada. Yeah. But it's definitely a drug war, and that's what it comes down to. And the worst part, obviously, the past couple of years, especially the past few days and weeks, is little children getting killed. You know, there's no, I only use the word honor because of what they do, but there was always, women and children were always off their thing. And if a guy was in the car with his family, they didn't do anything stupid. They don't care. They don't care anymore.
Right.
And if you look at, I don't know if you know anything about shooting and stuff, is where the bullets go. They're just shooting low, and it's just it's just ridiculous. But yes, it is it's all drug related thing. That's why, matter of fact, with the protest, and I know you might have read about it, and you see such a gang in Chicago, the Latin Kings, what have you, as well as they stated that they went with the police and say, listen, we'll take care of our neighborhoods, don't worry, and if whatever happens, and if any of our guys do anything, hands-on, so to speak, as we say, we'll take the heat for it. So when the protesters stayed out of those neighborhoods, because obviously it's not good for business, right? Obviously. Right. Okay. And the other reason why, my opinion, is, and I'm sure other people agree, which I've had this conversation, is it's why the shooting is up more. People say about the protesting down there. It's not. Our borders are shut tight right now, right? Okay. Where all your drugs come from, right? Okay. So the supply chain is not as lucrative as it was. So now the war is getting even more. Who's got this? Who doesn't have it? So people got to take that into consideration. Our borders are shut up pretty tight. I mean, I got my brothers in Mexico, my club, my organization, that coming for Sturgis, example, and they're all, they all got their paperwork, but they can only fly in. Okay. The borders are shut tight. And so that's going to affect the flow. I mean, I don't know if you noticed the biggest bust here was coming out of Canada. So they're trying everything they can. So supply and demand, right? If you don't have the supply, what happens to demand? So it's they're in uproar as that as well. But
so the drug situation or the shooting situation is a result of the lack of drugs coming into the country because the borders are shut up, and so the gangs are fighting for control of who has and fighting for drugs is basically what you're saying.
That's what I get out of it, and by talking to police officers, people we know down there as well. I mean, people can argue that, what have you.
You know what? It's a good opinion, and it's a fact. It's a point of view. It's a fact, and it's something that we don't hear on the nightly news.
And you're not going to. You're not going to. And the same thing is, you mentioned about. I'm sorry. They're talking about defunding the police and what have you. And before they thought about defunding the police, it was like we need a community system. I mean, a community organization that works instead of the police department. Chicago was first.
Yeah.
When Ray Emanuel, when he was in there, if you remember years ago, that was his push, and he pushed it in there, and he got that. So they have that in the neighborhoods, okay? And they are working hard to work in them communities. I mean, they're activists down there. They are working really hard. The churches, but again, it's business. It's a business. It's a drug business. I mean, I'm 20 minutes away from an airport called Waukegan, which is near the Great Lakes neighborhood. It's a small private airport. And when El Chapo, the Kingpin, they got records of him flying in and out all the time back in the day. So they're pushing a lot of stuff here, and of course with the pipeline between here and Milwaukee, and again we're in the Midwest. This is the middle of it.
Yeah.
You know what
the
I mean?
reality is it is a business, and people don't understand that even crime is a business, and other than the one-offs and the stupid idiot kids that get themselves involved in it, most of it is organized, and it has been for many, many years. And,
Without a doubt.
People don't, politicians don't want to recognize that. Joe, I just want to recognize somebody who's with us today. You might see it on the screen. Joe Nastasi, my mom, says, hi, Joe, love you.
Hi, sweetheart. Long time no good, doll. How are you? That's one tough Italian lady, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. You don't mess with JoJo. How are you, doll? Love you, sweetheart. How are you?
That's true. And if anybody else wants to offer a comment or ask a question, now's your time to do it. You could just type in, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, just type in your comments and they'll pop up on our screen, and I'll be able to show them to Joe, and Joe will answer them for you. But in the meanwhile, Joe, so tell us, tell us about the organizations that you're involved in. You've always been a community-minded guy, and you're one of those bikers with a heart. I always say, not that all bikers don't have a heart, because I found that the bikers have the rap that they get is not necessarily correct, because yes, they're tough. They've been in trouble with the law, but when push comes to shove, they protect their country first, and they're very patriotic and
through and through. I am obviously known as a Freemason, which I take very, very, very strong of my beliefs. As I am a state president of the Masonic Rider Association called the Widow's Sons. It's comprised of all Freemasons. We promote Freemasonry around the world through motorcycling. We're in 30 somewhat countries, at least in 40, well, whatever states. There's a whole bunch of us. Let's leave it at that. But we're based on Freemasons, and our charity work is, again, our motto is faith, hope, and charity as a Mason, and we do that. Everything we do is for charity. You mentioned about the bike community. The main thing, even when I was back in Staten Island, we started the Staten Island Toy Run, as you know, my old club as well, back on Staten Island there. We do all our charity work. Is the main thing with bikers is you hear all these stuff and how the government has it set up with, we see all the scams of all the different charity organizations. What people don't realize, without breaking the law, the money that you collect, even if you have a 501c3 or what you call a nonprofit, what have you, you don't have to give us less than 5% of the money to the charity, and it's legal. Okay, so and then you see the scams. But one thing about the biker community is that we don't play that game. Okay, we don't play the game at all. It goes, we focus as much as possible, and every time, obviously, you have costs to run events, but the main thing is to go from our hands to their hands, okay, directly. So there is no red tape, there's no one running around, and that is the key. And that's why you see the thing with the bikers rolling up personally and what have you. As far as patriots, there's no bigger patriots in the world than a biker. It's the American dream. We live it. We're comprised of, obviously, of veterans through the roof. If it was just together, it's just the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like people talk about the Wild West, and you guys are a bunch of cowboys. Yeah, cowboys ride horses. We ride iron horses. I get it. But more importantly, is you're born free, right? But people don't realize. You mentioned I travel quite a bit, and it's the world's beautiful without a doubt. But our country, I'm telling you, it's the most beautiful country on earth as well. I mean, where else can you go when if you want to be in the wintertime, you go up, you drive a little further. You're in the summer, you're in the warm weather. And just how everything progresses when you travel across the country. It's gorgeous. People say, I want to go someday. I want to do this. We've all had them people you work with, right? These guys, especially I was working in city government, is they never take the day off. They never go in sick. They don't use the vacation time. All these guys, I'm going to save it all for when I retire, right? For the last day. And why don't you go away, man? You got the money to go see the world. Go do something. No, when I retire, I'm going to do this. You know how many guys I know that did that within a year, 2 years, they died.
Yeah.
They died. They never got to do what they wanted to do. They worked themselves, to the bone or not, and just what? Just to say, I'm going to wait? There is no waiting. There is no waiting. You have to do it. I'm not saying you can afford it, go do it. As bikers, we do it first and worry about it later, absolutely. But But when this country doesn't know justice on television, it doesn't know justice in books, papers, internet, nothing. Think about, you have to smell it. You got to see it. You got to feel it. Okay, I know I sound cliche, what it may be, but it's the truth. I can compare it. Let me say this. Say, and you travel, you've been in a place, right? And that smell is in your head, the thing is in. It's similar to like you're sitting in your car. I'm in my 50s. A song comes on when you're in high school or something, and you haven't heard that song in the longest time, right? When that song clicks in, your mind works right back there to where you were when you heard it, what you did, and you put a smile on your face, whether you believe it or not. It's the same thing. You got to smell it, you got to feel it, and to abuse it the way this country is right now, as far as through politics, is ridiculous. I mean, I just seen we have 400 and something federal parks. Now the new thing is the parks are too white because white people. It's insanity. It's insanity. It's insanity. But again, to travel, people have to just get up. Listen, the highways, everything was done for a reason, to connect everybody. Okay, cost of living. You mentioned. Let's going back as far where I left. Cost of living. It's a big thing. Of course, living in New York is through the roof. I had to live within the city limits because I work for the city within certain counties, just like we all do. We were there. My son, Matthew, he's still back at living in Staten Island. He works for the state. He works for state courts, civil courts. He's got a good job. But that good job would be great here. But in New York, it's not enough.
No.
Okay. We mentioned Staten Island, where we're from. The house is there. My place here, I wish I showed pictures, what we created and built here. There's several buildings on the property, what have you. It's just beautiful. We worked really hard. I got a little touch in New York to the backyard. I had to have concrete somewhere, what have you. And it's just a beautiful setup. We're downtown, a beautiful town, historic little town. It's like the old days back in Staten Island when people own block to block worth of property. We have the same thing. And my son comes out here and for the first time, and he's like, "Wow, Pop, man, this place has got to be worth $3-4 million." And I'm like, "Yeah, there, not here. I mean, here it's worth quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, but nothing compared. I mean, you're talking, I can pretty much say 10 times worth more back there." And why? I mean, I understand the property value, what have you, but now it's getting to the point that nobody can afford to own anything in that city. Okay, there's
well, you don't know. After all the protests and the burnings and the riotings and the looting, the property may be cheap in New York, and so many of us who have invested so much in our properties in New York might be facing a real plummet in property values. But I get what you're saying. It's too expensive. It's not affordable, especially for a retiree.
Well, I'm going to say two things. I believe the government that's controlling that city right now is they want it to end up to be two kind of people living in that city: the very rich and the very poor, and the middle class is completely screwed. We knew it was coming for years, right? Living there. Okay, what's Staten Island called? Civil Servant Island, But the problem is these kids. I'm not saying the kids are the problem, but the problem is for the children, but the children in the future.
Yeah.
Okay? You say, I invest in several business. I serve a lot of my friends, and a lot of my friends are very, very smart real estate guys. And they had a point. They said, well, you invest your money in rental properties. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a landlord now. It's a pain in the butt. He said, listen, you got to look into the future. These kids are not going to be able to afford to buy a home in the future.
That's right.
They're all going to be renting because you know how it is. It's just the way it is. And he says they won't be able to afford. Now look at my son. I love him to death. I wish he was out here with me because he can do the same thing. And everything will regulate out with the money for him and stuff. We'll be able to buy a home and stuff like that. Why? Why is someone going to own half a duplex made of sheetrock on Staten Island for $700,000 with your property of 25 or 30 by 75 or 100, and you're on a poach stamp, and then you live inside the house, and everybody's on top of each other, and you're gonna be stuck for the rest of your life. And chances are, by the time you sell, you haven't paid it off anyway. Yeah. Is that the way to live? No, it's hard.
Well, Lillian Lagazzo joined us, and she says life agrees with Joe. He looks great, and she's glad to hear you're doing so well. You remember Lillian?
Yes, I love her.
To the borough president's office in Staten Island, and it's It's true. Life does look like it agrees with you. I mean, I remember when you left New York, you were tortured with making that decision whether you were going to leave or not, and because you
Yeah.
had so much going on in New York, but clearly it was the right decision for you. And there's so many people who are finding themselves retired and are doing exactly what you said. Why are we spending every single dollar that we have to scrape by and live in New York when you can sell your house and be set for life in the Midwest or in the South? And we're seeing many people leave the state and the city. And my fear is that, especially on Staten Island, we're looking at disproportionate
Sure.
property taxes now. What is it going to look like after COVID, where they continue to have most all the restaurants? You can't go indoors in restaurants, and gyms are still closed, and so many places are closed. What's it going to look like post COVID? We have no tourist season. We have no Broadway till January. We're going to miss Christmas. Who's going to pay for the $88 billion budget that was just passed by the city council with, oh, by the way, a police department that was defunded by $1 billion. And we're asking them now to do more with less money than they have ever done before in their life, because bail reform was enacted. And now we're looking to the police to go pick, criminals up on warrants instead of bail bondsmen who used to do that duty for the.
And speaking of the warrants, you just mentioned my brother Danny, very close brother of mine, Staten Island. His son is police is a warrant officer, I believe, out of Brooklyn. And they were notified a couple of days. We were having a conversation, and after the day of the budget cut, I believe the captains, what have you, called them all in and said, "Listen, there's no overtime. It's stopped. It's dead."
Yeah.
They're warrant squad.
Yeah.
When warrant squad's got to work to the fact of catch somebody around when they don't expect that you're going to catch, what have you. So how are they going to do the job? So what does that mean? More criminals going to stay on the street.
That's
right. And that's the other system. I mean, I can go on for me. I get going. It's what is the big plan here? I mean, the criminals, all that kind of stuff, and you notice a few years back, and I'm not about conspiracy theories, but it's not. It's a fact. As far as money that was spent, all of a sudden, certain Democrats, I'm going to call it like I see it, sit there and in certain states, of course, laws passed to privatize the prisons. Yep. Now, okay, so what does that mean? If you're investing in a prison, what do you need? What are you selling? What's your merchandise? You're babysitting, right? You need people. If people aren't in there, you're not going to get paid, right? So do you notice the whole thing of craziness in the law? And they're guaranteeing to keep that place filled as well. That's just a little fraction of the whole thing of what's going on. It's a mess, man. It's just a mess. It's sad. It's beyond. You try not to get aggravated, but it's to the point that you can't help it. We all got big hearts. We all believe in every man's created equal. The whole 9 yards. Absolutely. And you talk about Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. The right people there, they mean well, without a doubt. But just like any organization, you're infiltrated by people that don't give a crap about why they're in it. That's right. And they're going to destroy the whole system that they try to do calmly and to try to find proper resolution.
And to top it all off, I mean, we're talking about racism in this country, and it's a real thing. We know that there are still people that carry that antiquated ideal of racism, and unfortunately, it's an individual learned behavior, and it'll take time, whatever, but you can't change everybody's mind. But I believe we elected a Black president, not once but twice. So that and who elected that president was majority white people, because that was the majority of who voted in that election. So it shows you that, quote unquote, systemic racism, where the system doesn't allow people of a different color, does not exist in America, because we were able to elect an African American minority to the highest office in the country. But it doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist. And we were having real conversations about it, and it was starting to really make some sense. And I remember on many, many occasions saying to my husband, this Generation Z that's coming up is not going to be able to see color anymore, because there those boundaries of, you know, you only got to date within your culture, and you know, you can't date outside of the people that you know in your town or whatever. That's all gone, and people were melding and are melding and are proud of who they are as Americans. All of a sudden, we get Black Lives Matter, and it almost seems to me that those people who have racist tendencies are grabbing onto that and grabbing onto the Marxists and the rioters and saying, see, that's why, you know, I was right all along. And that is driving me crazy. And I think that we all have to recognize that. And those leaders within the Black community need to recognize that. And those of us that are sane enough to realize that the people that are rioting and looting are not the people that stand for, you know,
without a doubt,
liberty. We have to make that separation. All right, so Joe, let's take a trip around the world with some of your photographs. You know, one of the reasons that I thought you'd be a good guest today is because you've been around the world, and you could talk about what life is like in other countries as compared to in America. Because you know, one thing about these kids, and I call them the privileged idiots, who have gone to college for 4 years, and their parents have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition, and they don't even know that Abraham Lincoln, you know, freed slaves, and he wasn't part of the, you know, the Confederacy. So let's talk about this picture here, and tell me where it is and what it was about.
That was in Belfast, Ireland. I'm sorry, my wife said, "Look at the camera." I'm sorry.
Well, now we can't see either you or my face.
Yeah, exactly right. That was in Belfast. That we ride around Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland's gorgeous and beautiful, and the people of Ireland. I mean, actually, the money of Ireland. I mean, American tourism is what keeps Ireland going. I mean, we're the number one commodity, so to speak, for all of Ireland, and it's beautiful. And it's actually the worst rainstorm I ever rode in was in Ireland. They had a drought a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember seeing it in the news or what have you, that the island of Green was actually turning yellow of the grass because they had a drought for a couple of months. And with me and my brothers and all of us go for the ride, it's beautiful to the mountains a couple of days, and then the big ride, obviously, we get hit. We're up in the mountains in 2 hours, 1 month of rain in 2 hours, and me being American. And I had my rain gear on, I had simple sunglasses on, trying to be all cool, whatever, what have you. And man, did I regret every minute of that. But yeah, the people of Ireland, I mean, they got it going on. I mean, without a doubt. But they love America, obviously. Actually, you mentioned about history. When you talk to them, I think they know more American history than we do because they talk about it. It's unbelievable. My family is this, my family is that, what have you. So the poverty I didn't see there. Probably my best ride as far as continue riding was I went to South Africa in 2000.
Do we have a picture of that? I don't think we have the picture.
I sent it to you, but I don't think you can be able to download it. You said you weren't able to. Yeah. But we went from Cape Town, and we rode all the way across South Africa to Durban on the other side, from one ocean to the other, to the sea. And the poverty, you don't know what it is till you see it. I mean, people talk about shanty town. No, that's real shanty town. I mean, the roofs are made of car hoods. And I have a thing in my my backyard and my nice setup. I keep daily. It's a little metal windmill made up by hand, cut of aluminum cans and some binding wire. And we stop. The government roads there's the only roads you have, and it's not like here wherever you stop. There's an exit to get fuel. I mean, you really got to plan it all out, right? Right. So to the government, and we stopped, and it was just a gas station and a little thing, and it's all dusty, just like you see in the movie Dirt, you know, the yellow dirt, what have you. And there was one girl, she had to be, I don't even think she was even 20 years old. I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there. On the side of the road, and then she had a few of these things. Her hands are all covered in the silver paint or what have you, and she has two little kids with her, and they're all dusty, and you know, because just the dust is blowing, the wind's blowing, and you look at it, and she's smiling. And she got her two kids, and I asked how much it is. I want to buy it, not because I want to buy it because number one, I want to help, obviously, and the amount was coming out to like 25, 50 cents American. It was ridiculously cheap, And of course, like an American, I give like $10, you know, and their
Yeah,
face
yeah.
looks up. You know what I mean? But then, you can see it in their eyes and of the appreciation. Number one, but number two, that's just the way it is. You understand? Like her two children was all about. That's what it was all about. You know what I mean? And yeah, you see some tough stuff out there, but how do I say this? Just go into grocery stores. Just go into stores in other countries. Okay, we are gabons. Let's use a tiny thing. You know what I mean? You don't have the Costco's. You don't have that kind of stuff there. I mean, you go to the store. There's just so much stuff there. It's it's figured out for the people there. You know what I mean? And they don't shop like we do. They don't do any of that whatsoever. And they're happy in some cases. I mean, really, the poverty parts, it's really, really hard. It's tough. But I don't want to use the word they accept it. It's just the way it is, and they adapt and they deal with it. But it's heartbreaking. And then you think about, like you said, you think about the kids here in the United States, and even us. Let's be honest in the case. The system has set us up that, number one, to have good credit in this country, you have to be in debt. Our credit and our financial decisions in life are based on three independent companies, not the government, that give us. They have the authority to give us a credit score, and not even knowing about our lives or what have you. I mean, does that make any sense to you? But no. So what do? Because okay, you know what? I need my good credit, so let me get a credit card. We all do it. It's so easy, especially now. Okay, I want that. I mean, I live above my needs. I know I do. Yeah. And I kick myself in the butt every time. You know, what do I need this for? I mean, you go around. What the hell did I buy that for? Yeah. And you think about the money you spent on it. For what? You know what I mean? And then you forget about when you were a kid. You know, my father worked 2 jobs. My mother was really sick as a kid. She worked part-time at the high school at the time. And we were happy, right? We didn't have anything. My brothers had it. You know, I was the oldest. So they had it rough because I was the only good thing about me. I got the clothes first. You know, and it went down. But you never complained. Yeah. Right? You never complained about nothing because we were happy. We did what you had to do. Yeah. And the thing, I think the other thing, I'm sorry, I keep looking down. I can't help myself. But is the thing of our sacrifice. People don't understand sacrifice. They don't understand it. And the entitlement is beyond. You know what? When you hear them talking about privilege, I agree. I'm not saying how they say about it, or white privilege maybe. But yeah, without a doubt. But you know what? Everyone say, well, I work for it. Yeah, we do. But we got to wrap it all down a little bit and realize, hey, there's more to life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and listen, sometimes privilege doesn't, breed character. And when we talk about, who's privileged and who's not. I mean, look, I grew up poor, lower middle class.
Same here.
I didn't know if I was poor or not. My mother made sure that we had everything we needed. We were always clean. We always had dinner. And we were fortunate in that regard. But there were times that dinner was, for a week, dinner was macaroni. Because that was cheap, or some of the cheaper fish. But my parents did what they had to do to feed us and to get us what we could do, what they could. But there were many times that the ice cream truck would come along, and I would say, "Ma, could I have a quarter?" And there wasn't a quarter in the house, for ice cream. And you had. No, I don't have it. And no, I don't have it meant no, I don't have it. It didn't mean throw a tantrum. It didn't mean, get crazy. It didn't mean any of that. And when I was a teenager, I got a job because I wanted clothes, because every teenager does. And there wasn't that excess cash to get the kind of clothes I wanted. So I got a job. I was making $1.65 an hour. And I was very, very proud when I purchased my first outfit from my paycheck.
Sure, of course.
But that's not happening now. We have kids whose parents are working 2 and 3 jobs to send them to college, and they're spending the bulk of the money that they get on food. Right, everything is DoorDash and Starbucks. I mean, I can't afford Starbucks. I wonder how they do.
No, I can't afford DoorDash. I mean, all kidding aside.
But and we talk about privilege, but really, I mean, I think privilege is a subjective term, and I think that some of us old timers will look at these young kids and go, "You think we were privileged because we were white? We think you're privileged whether you're black, Puerto Rican, Indian, Mexican. It doesn't matter. you're privileged right now. And I say it all the time. I wouldn't want to smack the protesters. I want to take their parents and I want to put them over my knee, because their parents did not teach them human decency, and they also have not taught them the difference between right and wrong. We have raised a generation of crybabies and hysterical children.
We raised children for 30 years now with absolutely zero accountability for anything they do.
No.
Okay, we've talked about this for years. The progression of how things change. Obviously, we were younger. If our mom had a little job, or most houses, the whole American dream, right? Your dad went to work, your mom stayed home, took care of us. We're also back from the times when families were big, right?
Yep.
Four children, four boys in my family. That wasn't considered big. On my block, one family had 7. One had, you know how it was. Excuse me. The accountability of the whole thing, and what has changed is, back then, like I said, our father went to work. So, and you did your chores. I said, you want to see how America's changing? I said it 20-something years ago. Go down to any street in America on the night that the garbage has to go out for the next day and see who's putting it out. It's the parents. Okay? Landscapers are doing really well, God bless, because the kids ain't going to cut the grass.
Nope.
Right? Could you imagine?
No.
And here's another little funny thing. Is funny, but it's true. Is when we were kids, we were outside, right? You knew you had to be home when the street lights came on, right? You were never late for dinner, God forbid. And in the neighborhood, you couldn't get away with it anyway, because every parent, it was the street watch was the street watch. Every parent in the block, it actually treated you like they were your parent as well. So you couldn't get away with nothing.
That's right.
Right? And these kids today, it's just there's no accountability whatsoever. It's just a shame. I mean, the punishment for us was what? Stay in the house. You're not allowed out, right? You'd be like a puppy. You'd be like a puppy in a store window. Your friends are waving at you. You're in the house. What is the punishment now? Telling them to get out of the house, because they're all sitting in the basement. They're all on these damn video game thing. I wouldn't know how to play one if you put it in front of me. And why are they getting sick? Why is this? Why is that? Because they got no immune system whatsoever. And that, then we rolled around in dirt. We ate dirt. I mean, old kid aside, you're out there in the elements. That's called evolution. Am I not right?
No, you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? I compare Kidding Around is that movie with Tom Cruise in like 2005, World of Worlds.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, and the aliens are sucking up the blood and all that kind of crap, and then they killed themselves in the end. And remember Morgan Freeman saying, Mother Earth got them because they were here a million years ago, and evolution and who was immune to what. It's sad. It's sad, but it's true. But it's the reality of it all. We all say the same thing. We worry about our children. What's going to be left for them? What's going to be left? You mentioned about colleges too. Colleges are just as guilty. Now, I'll say this for the tough. We have kids.
Excuse me, I just want to say I lay it right at the feet of the colleges and the professors. But again, back to the parents who pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars and don't even take a look at what these professors are teaching these kids. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, or even the kids. These kids aren't even picking a major till the third year, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, and the parents are paying through their nose, they're mortgaging their homes. And of course, you got all the rich families, which is the problem where those kids don't learn neither. They don't give a shit about learning. They worry about they worry about their trust fund, and that is the part where I believe with the minority neighborhoods, when the kids are working so hard, they know they got they're taking the education, excuse me, as hard as they can. They got the grades, but they can't get in because that seat is there for that. Now, how college have changed for the past 10, 15 years, when you sit down, when a college rep comes to your home in college and look at your kid, whatever it may be, if it ain't a sports scholarship, what have you, and it's to the point that they know that the kids, obviously, the odds of them getting out with the complete education in 4 years is not there.
No.
So they're making deals with the parents saying, okay, now chances are your kid's not going to make it. So we'll offer you a 5-year deal.
Right.
Are you kidding me? College supposed to be 4 years. They're offering it. It's money. It's thing. And again, now that 5-year thing is now taking a seat away from another kid that should be right. That should be right to that education as well. It's a mess. I say
And in the meanwhile, Joey, but then we have jobs like yours, right? Dock builders, and in every city there are government jobs, right? That when a kid couldn't make it in college, when they weren't going to become professors or a professional, our parents would say, take the civil service test, right? Because that was going to be your job security. So we have all the opportunity in New York City and around the country for civil service jobs, and whether it be subway conductors or janitors or street pavers or what.
Honest living.
And which one of us has ever been in a conversation with a fellow parent where they said, "Oh yeah, I want my kid to be a truck driver or a construction guy and a road crew or a dock builder." We don't hear that. We all want our kids. We're shamed into saying that our kids are going to attend Brown or Yale or Harvard, as if that is going to be the be all and the end all. And now we see that the Brown and the Harvard and the Yale and the UCLA and all these graduates are serving coffee at Starbucks because they can't find a job. And in the meanwhile, why is rental property a good idea to invest in? Because kids don't want to buy a house. Why don't kids want to buy a house? They don't want that responsibility.
They can't handle it.
They can't handle it. They don't want that.
Without a doubt.
So again, it comes back to who did this. It's not the colleges that did it. It's the parents. We did it as a society. We said we want better for our kids than we had, and we didn't realize that what we had was pretty effing good. And we should have passed that on to our kids. First thing, if you want to be a parent, man. Teach the kid right from wrong. Teach them to respect authority.
Respect.
We don't have that anymore. And your son, God bless Matthew, court officer. I mean, that has got to be some of the
clerk. He's a court clerk. Yeah, absolutely. And the stuff that he sees as well. It's the world's going upside down. The children today, and here's the thing, the workforce, they're not paying attention, okay? Everyone's got their heads down, okay? My opinion, the internet is supposed to be the greatest tool. It connected the world. It's made everybody dumber, made people stupid, okay? And the school's allowing the kids to bring their phone. Oh, we got to have the phone in case of emergency. They're giving them a test. They're hitting Google, and it's doing the work for them.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong when I know I'm not.
You're right.
So what happens? Now that you said to go to college, the parents, we finance their homes, get a student loan, what have you. They get out of school. I went to school for computers. You know what? 25 years ago, you're in the beginning of it, in the 20 years, you're coming out, you're making the big money. It's not there anymore. If you're 50 years old and you're in that business and you get laid off tomorrow, you're screwed. You're done. Yeah. You're done. You're not going to get another job. And now you're not going to make the money you were making, that's for sure. And the company don't give a crap. They're glad that you're gone because why? They're going to get that kid, like you said, that wants that job. He's going to come in and do that job for 1/3 minimum of the price. Yep. And when that kid gets the job and he gets a little cocky, you say, hey, there's 20 people waiting behind you for that same job. Yeah. So that market got flooded completely, and there's no money in it. You know what I mean? I have to say, even people said, oh, you got to make an app. You know how many apps are created to the amount of the ones that make it? It's thousands and tens of thousands, almost 100,000 before one makes it. You know, and that's the other thing, too. Everybody in this world, like our parents told us, you make a little at a time, you try to save, we spend the money, I get it. You have a good time. Like, God rest my soul, my best friend Kenny, you remember McGowan, my business partner, and best friend, he passed away. And he used to tell me, I used to get crazy because I'm always like a jitterbug, I'm always going like crazy. I'm working faster than my mind's working faster than my body can catch up. And I said, oh, business, I should have did this, that. And he's like, whoa, slow down. He says, you gotta remember, inch by inch, it's a cinch. If you go yard by yard, it's going to be hard. Everybody now, nobody wants to work hard. Everybody's looking for the big score. The big score. The big scores are not there no more. I'm not saying a couple people are going to make it. And unfortunately, the world is this. People complain, the rich is not. You need money to make money? Absolutely. They got the money. I get it. You know what I mean? But it's still the American dream, whether anyone likes it or not. You can still prosper, okay? Work hard. Don't be afraid to work. Work with your hands. Immigration. Oh, the Mexican, everybody's taking their job. I'd hire a Mexican right now, a person of Mexican heritage that I would, American kid, in a heartbeat. I've done it. I had no choice. Yeah. Okay? I've had him here working for me through the years, and all they want to do is look at their phone. They don't want to work. They got more
Yep.
excuses. They show up to
Yep.
work. They got brand new sneakers on. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Okay. But
if there wasn't a need for people to work, because our American kids aren't doing it, nobody would come over from Mexico illegally or otherwise. Nobody would come from other countries illegally or otherwise. Because they come because there's a need and because they have an opportunity, like our grandparents did. They have an opportunity to make money and to work hard, and we're not teaching that to our kids.
And that's the other thing too. Other people come illegal, absolutely. They're going to get here. They're going to get here. But all the guys that I know, and if they work hard, they do have they go put in for the paper. There's a process, without a doubt. They're opening up their businesses. They're taking over neighborhoods, so to speak, business-wise.
Yeah.
They have every right to. They're working hard. They're putting every penny away. We kid around about, there's 10 of them living in a house. So what? They're saving their money. They're doing the way America was built. They do the same thing. Our ancestors, my family came in there late 1800s, same thing. Went right to Brooklyn, worked the shipyards, the whole 9 yards. There's a whole bunch of, we had the old railroad car, housing, you had the buildings, everybody was in it. So, you know what? Right now, listen, I'm all about securing the borders. I'll be the first to say, I believe in a wall. No, I'm not crazy. Like other countries have it as well. You make it sound like we're the only ones like locking everybody out. Yeah. I say put one in Canada too. Why not? You know what I mean? Make everybody happy. What have you got to lose? Right? And it controls it. Everyone has the right to try to get in this country, but you have to do it right, without a doubt. But they're the workforce. They want to work. These kids are lazy. It's not all about the children I'm talking about, right? People are lazy. Okay?
People are lazy. They've become lazy.
What aggravates me, and I'll be honest with you, again, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm a Viking the whole night. My mixed race with my cousins, mixed race. It's a beautiful thing. It's America, but everyone talks about blacks, Hispanic. Calls all the different names. It's bullshit. You know who the worst are? And I'm going to tell you straight out, because, again, I've traveled this whole country, seen it. I'm going to use these words. White trash. White trash blows everyone away. Completely across the board. And if you don't think for 1 minute that they don't take advantage of every system, because everybody's quick to say, oh, the blacks, they're on the third, fourth generation welfare, they take it. And the Puerto Ricans, all that kind of stuff. Well, there's other nationalities as well that do it, absolutely. Yeah. But who is the worst? And I'm telling you straight up, people get mad at me, I don't care. White trash. Look at the protesters. There is more white kids out there running around than there are blacks.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's why I said that they're not the BLMs mixing in with the situation. Yeah. So, as far as history, the goal is to never repeat history. We know that, but we can't do anything about the history right now. Yeah. Other than teach the people to never let it happen again.
Never let it happen again.
Okay.
All right, so we only have a few minutes, so let's get through some more of these pictures. So talk to us about this picture. Where's that?
That's middle of Mexico. You see the great Aztec pyramids in the background there?
Oh, yeah.
That's the largest Aztec city. It's beautiful. Yes, and see how red the dirt is and human sacrifices. I swam in they used to throw the bodies like in the bottomless pit. It's filled with water, and I had to go swim in it. I thought it was kind of cool. Wow. Stuff like that. Yeah, this is also somewhere in South America. I'm not sure where. Okay. But because you can tell, because people think everything's always hot down there, but it's actually cold. In the morning, you know what I mean? It's kind of wild the further you go. That is last year. That's when the ride was over. I could probably say I know my father was on my shoulder as an angel or somebody else. I'm doing about 80 miles an hour, maybe 90-something kilometers, riding through the back hills from Mexico City towards Acapulco and through the mountains. And I'm flying. The whole time I get to Acapulco, one of my brothers tells me, you can't ride that bike anymore. I don't know if anyone that rides motorcycles could see there. That axle was just sitting there. It was not bolted on. And I drove 400 and something kilometers at about 80 miles an hour through the mountains, kicking ass. That's insane. I get there. So you talk about going. So that's the kind of luck you get. Thank God. That there is me going to the Philippines. In the Manila and going in rickshaws and driving rickshaws. I thought it was cool. And one of my Filipino brothers here said, hey, man, you learned that. That's so good. I know a Filipino guy here that has it. That's a rickshaw. That's a classy 5-star taxi in the Philippines. And I had to have it, so I bought it. And that's me running a rickshaw taxi flying around in the Philippines, which about 10 minutes later, me and my buddies thought it was funny to have 10 of us have a race in the town square. Yep, it's on video, which I get crashed and rolled over, flipped. I got hurt. It was pretty funny.
Oh.
That's actually right over the Mississippi River. That's Antique Ontology from American Pickers.
Oh,
Yeah. So we ride over there. So the mighty Mississippi, we go over there and ride up and down it. And that's just me here in the beautiful Midwest, sucking up the thing. Like I said, breathing it, smelling it, living it, you know?
And here's my favorite. That's you and Miss Jenny.
That's me and Jen. That's in Sturgis. You mentioned about Sturgis, about the protesters. Good luck with that. You don't realize there's only a few ways in, a few ways out. It's never going to happen. And if they come, no, it's not going to happen. It'd be terrible if they do. It ain't going to happen.
But they haven't given up. When is Sturgis?
Sturgis starts on August 7th.
Okay.
And it goes for 10 days. And people realize it's the 80th anniversary. We expected to have 1.3 million people. Obviously, that's not going to be that number because of the COVID around the world. A lot of my brothers from overseas obviously can't get here anyway. Just as an example. Now, you take Route 90. It's once you leave Sioux Falls, Sioux City on the east side of South Dakota, there is nothing. We say there's nothing. It's small stuff. All the way across the other side by Wyoming in a corner, which Sturgis is in the corner of Wyoming and right in North Dakota as well, right above. So Sturgis is a one-horse town, but it's the Mecca. You know, every kind of business sells out. Closes out and opens up something biker related, selling food, what have you. There's only so many roads. It's a beautiful place. You should go visit the Black Hills when it's not Bike Week. It's amazing. Of course, the monuments, Crazy Horse, Mount Rushmore, just to name a few. Needles Highway is gorgeous, that was Needles Highway there itself, cutting to the mountains. So I don't know what they plan on doing if they're going to do that. I don't know how they. Number one, if they're going to come in, they better get the hell out because they have a plan. Because a hotel room is almost $400 a night, and I know the hotels will never give it to them anyway. It's probably filled. And all the campsites. If they would try to stay at a campsite, they would be like Custer surrounded by the Indians. It ain't going to happen. And again, I don't know where. The only place they could possibly do anything would be Rapid City. We'd find some parking lot somewhere just to get some news coverage. But if they come downtown, it's not going to be pretty. And you have police forces from policemen from all over the country work for the rally for the 2 weeks and get paid around the clock. Even Canadian Mounties as well, and other police officers from other countries to help deal with people from all over the countries. I don't see it happen. I'm not going to try to sound cruel, but I would love to see it. A little Antifa stuff because they're going to know what hit them, and I hate to say it like that.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the biker community.
No, there'll be a lot of guys take the trees. We take the trees, and at that point, I'm sure the police department, the Missing Persons Bureau, or the FBI Missing Person Bureau will be very busy as well, making some kind of money. Yeah, I don't see it happening. It's I don't want to say the word suicide, but it kind of would be in a sense.
Yeah.
And speaking about people talking about this is going to get so out of hand and everyone's just going to finally rise up, it's going to be a civil war. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. But I'll tell you this, it won't be like you'll see people squaring off in the street. Maybe in the big cities, some areas. And they're going to protest the radicals and what have you and the Antifas and all that. They said they're going to start hitting the suburbs and places out right here. Let me see how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're over? We're done?
No, we're not overdone. I just wanted to say tomorrow, Governor Nome is having a big celebration at Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So supposedly we're going to see there's supposed to be protesters there. Marxists, Antifa, anarchists are going to try to disrupt that situation. And I just can't imagine how far they're going to get.
Mount Rushmore is up on a hill. The same thing. It's the one road in, one road out kind of thing. I don't see it. I mean, they'll get their news coverage somewhere, but I don't think they're going to let them close. It'll be hard for them to get in. That's just my opinion from being there so many times.
Yeah.
Good luck if they try to. But going back to everyone's afraid, and it's scary times without a doubt. But what's going to happen is, and me and my good brother Danny discussed this as well, is you're going to come out here. You got to remember, everybody hunts. Okay, you got over 350 million registered legal guns in this country, billions upon billions of rounds of ammunition legally. Yeah. That's not including the guns that aren't registered that people buy, what have you, old stuff. And let's go into the into the cities where the guns are illegal. Okay, that's a whole lot of firepower, right? Our forefathers, who were Masons, thank God, knew what they were talking about as far as our amendment, the right to bear arms. So, my opinion, if it gets all that kind of crazy, you can't stop what you can't see. Like my brother mentioned, like remember the rioting, stuff like that in Bosnia we seen years ago. Yeah. What ended that? It wasn't. They didn't come through the streets and the police force and the military. One guy sitting 300 yards away that nobody could see, taking out one person. To give an example, and that person dropped, and everybody went. They were gone. It'll be similar. I hope to God it never happens, but they have to understand it'll be like that. People aren't going to take it, and it's not going to be televised. I mean, what I mean is they want to film everything they do. And if people get aggravated enough, and if this ever gets to that, we're not still have to. People are still have to film it. Okay, they're going to be like old school, like we all kid around about the old days. Bye, gone. Welcome to the farmland. You know, I mean, I hope to God it never gets to that, but they got to understand.
But it's looking dangerously like it's going to get to that. I mean,
without a doubt,
like that for a lot of people. They feel it's another civil war coming on.
They're being used. That's the funny part. We know who's behind it. The Democrats, the whole 9 yards. And I got to tell people, like the thing you mentioned about Seattle. When they went in, I said, I gave them tops a month. I was being nice about it. They went in there. They didn't expect to do what they did. Number one, if you look at it close, they have no end game. There is no end game.
No end game. There is no end game.
There is no end game to any of this. Okay? What is the end game? If you ask them, they don't know. Oh, change. Yeah, no shit. Change happens every freaking day. So what? What is your end game? They don't have it. They're puppets for the radicals. We all know that. And why? Where's Biden? He ain't saying nothing. Maybe a little bit now. The Democrats, they're not saying nothing. They want total chaos. They were hoping for total chaos, right? They're not condoning not saying nothing because they wanted our president to get the military involved. And the second they came in and go through the streets, they would jump up out of their seats, come out of the basements, and say, "See, he's a bad president. He's using our own military, our own people against to freaking kill innocent people."
Right.
And I'm glad he didn't bite. I really did. I'm glad he's stepping up. The police department, the funding. That is. I think that's what's going to cripple this country alone, and it's happening from within. I mean, Blasio and them people. I mean, are you kidding me? We all say the same shit. That guy needs a bullet in the head. This and that. You got to watch what you say, maybe. But why? And people say, well, how did he get in? It's because people asleep at the wheel. I use the example.
He got in because people were afraid of Republicans. Because whatever the Republican Party has done over the years, we have never blown our own horn and said how fantastic we are. We've always been silent about the good that we've done. And look, being the campaign manager for Nicole Maliotakis running against de Blasio, when she first came on scene, people were all behind her until they found out she was a Republican. And they couldn't bring themselves in New York City, even if they liked her. And they donated money to her. Even if they liked her, they weren't going to be accused of voting Republican. How stupid is that? But now we see, so the Republican Party, we've got our problems, right? Silent. The Democrat Party has gone off the rails. They're now socialist Democrats. So for a long time, you've been saying you wanted to create a party, right?
I wanted at one time, yes, I was starting the biker party without a doubt, and I actually reached out to you and said, how do I do this? when you were doing everything, and you said, well, how far do you want to go with it? You said, if you go, you got to go. And I'm like, expecting. So we call it
Might
that.
be time for the biker party.
I think so. It definitely, without a doubt, patriotic across the board. People are fed up, man. It's enough. But we all say it, and everybody sits back and they're quiet and they think it's going to happen. But that's how things go. And people got to remember, in 6 years, this country is 250 years old. If you look through history, great empires, that's around the time when they crumble. That's right. We're right there. 250 years.
That's right.
You watch it all go, and they know it too. It's crazy. Do I think it'll all turn around? Absolutely. What I think is going to happen in the election, I think Democrats are also pissed off because Joe Biden's not their guy. No. I mean, this man doesn't know where he's at. I mean, let's be honest with you. And everyone says, well, it's going to depend on who his vice president is. He's going to get a woman that's going to be, and they expect him to die. yeah, they're like, well, he'll get in and he'll die or someone will kill it. Really? Do you really think it's going to happen?
Right.
It's not going to happen.
So, like, the Democrats are putting up a presidential candidate who it's understood that will likely not be able to perform the duties of the office. And so, therefore, they're making such a big deal out of who the vice presidential candidate is. How in the world does that make sense for anybody? Why wouldn't you just say, I'm not running, here's the presidential candidate, and whatever that woman is, put them up, right? The Democrats, the party of women, the party of color. Well, if it's going to be Kamala Harris, why wouldn't they just give her the nomination in the first place? Why are they playing this nonsensical game with Joe Biden? It is cruel.
Yep.
It's cruel for his reputation. It's cruel that they are putting that man out there where he is not able to string together a thought or a sentence. And once he gets debating with Donald Trump,
let me tell you something. That's going to be probably, if that was on pay-per-view, everybody would pay for it. You saw what President Trump did, like real Rubio people. Remember, I told you that was my guy for years. Right.
Behind him.
Right. We had that conversation, and when that debate came in, listen, Donald Trump, nobody thought it was going to go that far, but what he did, and when he got Jeb Bush, he brought him into the schoolyard, and Jeb didn't know what to do. And then Rubio was sitting there, and he started going to it. And I was like, don't go. Yep. As soon as you go in there. Now, here's the thing about President Trump. He's not a politician. Wait a minute. What happened to all the people on both sides for years, okay? For years saying this is bullshit, term limits. These politicians, we all know they're crooked, blah, blah, blah. They're getting rich. They're in the office. We need someone who's not a politician. Well, guess what? You got one. And now because you don't like the guy, you got orange hair, whatever, this is what you're going to do. Give it a chance, man. Just give it a chance. Plain and simple. Right now, people got to realize, okay, I know some Democrats are going to have to pay. Now, we know about the whole zoo, right? We obviously know we don't want Biden. He couldn't handle it in a half a second, okay? Yeah. So now stop. Think about your family. Think about your business. Think about your money. Get off the internet for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, whatever. Let's just say it that way. Go home, sit at your desk, take your finances out, look at your future, look at your pension, look at your home, look at everything you got, and take the politics out of it, okay? And think, okay, what is best for me? Because wait a minute, who gives a shit about me stomping my feet because I don't like this guy or I don't like this guy? Put that aside. You have to think what's best. Now, President Trump, ever talked about the tweets? Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. But the first time he did it, he realized it blew some heads up. And that's why he does it. And that's why he did it. Why not? If he knows it pisses him off, that's why he does it. He's an idiot. You can say idiot all the way. They're just words, right? But that he's the only guy, okay, again, non-politician, that went from town to town to town, city to city to city, state to state to state. Had his people. He asked the people, what would be better for you? How can I help you to make your life better here? What do you want? And he wrote it down. He is the only president, and now again, I'm not preaching because Donald Trump, which I love him anyway, because of what he's done. Don't get me wrong. He's the only guy that took out the list, and he's going down the list like this. Boom, boom, boom,
like a businessman. Like a businessman.
Exactly.
How is this business of America going to succeed? I need to employ people, grow business, bring businesses home. I need to deal with the unions. I need to deal with the... Yeah, go ahead.
Without a doubt, no. He's saying China for years. We all know that. He did the bad deal. They're not the deal. Oh, forget about that. We all knew it was freaking bad. Right. He took everything that down. He went around the world and said, hey, like the World Health thing, why are we paying $390 million and China, who's got the problem, is only paying 40 and they're in their pocket.
Right.
He took the numbers, like you said, like a businessman, and said, and then we asked, the reason why everybody's getting pissed off at him, even his own people, okay, I say own people, say his own party, he's questioning everybody. Everyone says, well, look at him. He's the only guy. He fires this, fires that, they're quitting. Yeah, he's putting them in a corner. He's asking them questions that they can't answer or they're afraid to answer because they know it's wrong. He's saying, someone explain to me why this is like this. Yeah. They can't because they know it was done wrong. The country, here's what's going on. Politics and everything, it's hard to wrap it all in. It's like opening up that can of peanuts and the snake comes out and you can't never get it back in, right? It's like a dam, right? The United States is a dam. It's all great as long as we maintain it and keep it right. The water will stay by. But once that dam breaks, it's hard. You can't put the water back in. It's a mess. So why not? Why not have a businessman? Why not? I mean, you don't like him? He's arrogant? Yeah, so what? Who isn't? Okay, it's just freaking words. That's the problem with this country.
He's a New Yorker.
He did what he had to do. And that's the other thing. Everyone says, screw him, he's rich. Yeah, welcome to America, the land of dreams. And they did it. You know what I mean? Plain and simple.
That's it. His grandfather came over here with nothing. His father, did what he had to do, worked the system, worked everything to create a building empire. And then he took something that was, yes, the father had some money, but it was failing. He reorganized that and he made that a household name, Trump. So you got to give the man kudos for that. And you're absolutely right. Before I want you to go on, but I want to recognize Joe Tribuzio, who says Stormin rules. Artie Kozian, who says go Joe. And Greg Crum, who says we got your back, Joe, telling it like it is. So,
thank you, brothers. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, and the thing with Trump, people don't realize. look at the video. The documentary on him. His big deal was that hotel. He did it with no money.
That's right.
He did it on how we all do things in life. Let's be honest with you. You go in there with a dream and you hope that you say, you know what, I'm going to try to pull this off. If I get caught, my back's against the wall. He went and made a deal when he told him he had the back of the bank when he didn't. It all worked out for him. People don't realize that.
Yeah. Well, like anything else, the problem with Trump was that the politicians didn't want him in there because he wasn't a politician and he didn't want them to expose him. And you can say what you will, and I agree. Look, I'm not for name calling. I'm not for bullying. I don't do that stuff. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to say it like it is. And he did. And that's what's getting things done, whether it's the wall in Mexico or now Mexico has the border patrol themselves. Remember when the president of Mexico said, I'm not paying for no wall.
Yeah.
I'm not cooperating. And now look, he's cooperating. And, it just busts my ass that people don't recognize that right now with these protesters, with these Marxists, the people that are funding them are Adidas, are the big corporations, Amazon, the people who want trade in China to remain.
Absolutely.
It works for them because they get cheap labor. Right? They get cheap labor and they're able to make a bigger profit. So how freaking ridiculous is this that we're going to pretend that this is about race and equality and that this is about, making everybody feel good about themselves. This is about money. This is about money in the worst possible way.
Chaos makes money. Chaos makes big money, without a doubt.
And it's bullshit.
The old saying of war is good business. This is war. That's a war.
And these kids don't recognize that they're being used. And worse than that is, once again, the African Americans who had been taken advantage of their whole life are now again being taken advantage of because this isn't about race. You're not going to stop racism this way. You could defund everything you want. You can paint BLM wherever you want. It is not going to change whether somebody is a racist or not. The way that the one color that everybody sees equally is green.
Without a doubt.
And that's what this is about. And they're being used once again. And if America doesn't wake up, it's crazy. Joey, so tell me something. So the polls have Joe Biden up, in the key states. Okay. Tell me about around you, right? Because Wisconsin's in play. They say Biden's going to win Wisconsin by a mile. What do you say?
No. Again, the silent majority, the people that come out. First of all, I don't go by polls. You mean to tell me you poll 500 people, I don't care if it's even Fox, whatever it may be. They poll 500,000 people. They represent the United States? So first, let's get polls out of the way for me. Like you said, about the people. No, I don't see it. They know he's an idiot, and I don't mean to say idiot, but I got no choice. The guy's like a living idiot. What can he do? And again, people are smart, realizing it. He's been there almost 50 years. He hasn't done it anyway, so what's going to make him do it now? Listen, like I mentioned earlier, everybody is sitting home being smart. I'm telling you, they're quiet. Taking out the thing, you have to look at your family. You got to look at your money, okay? This is about money, okay? It's about the future. If Trump loses, okay, I'm not, people can say, he's a Trump guy. Me, I don't care. But if he loses, there's excuse me, brokers and guys I know, they're all taking the money out.
Yeah.
If he's not there, it's going to be, you have no idea. So we can't have him lose because it's going to be beyond worse. You show me, and the Democrats, in all these past couple of years, they still don't show any kind of financial plan for the future. Anybody see it? Yeah. Please, if anyone's on there, this thing, I'll tell you, because no one just show it because I've never seen it. It doesn't exist. He has a plan. His plan's simple. Yes, trying to bring the jobs back, all that kind of stuff. People say, bullshit. He's giving all the rich companies, giving them all a big tax break. Yeah, it's called the tax incentive. They left, like you said, for cheap labor and stuff like that because they weren't getting anything. You got to bring them back somehow. Okay, everything doesn't happen overnight. Everything's got to be a progression. It's got to be done right, and they got to think about their money. It's just crazy. And I can go on and, I get crazy and shit.
Yeah. We can't because we're already 15 minutes over.
Oh, okay. Like medication. Me and my wife, we have our Open Road Essentials.
Yeah. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about Open Road Essentials, and let's tell everybody where they can get it and what it is. Okay.
We're essential oils, but you see everything about TV, about essential oils and stuff. It's just for scent. Actually, it's been used for thousands of years. We're a company called the Terra, as you know. We're one of their people that deal with the products for them as well, and we basically teach people how to live a better life. Okay, we've shown proof that with natural oil stuff like that, we eliminate the medications. I gotta be careful how I say about medical stuff, what have you, legally. But myself, me, I used to be 440 pounds.
Yeah.
I live miserable, and speaking about motorcycling, that's how me and Jen. How it relates to motorcycling, because we're on the road, we get fatigued, we get beat up. So basically what happens, everybody's beat up. What do you take? You take a pain pill. What does that mean? You're now riding a two-wheel open motorcycle under the influence of a narcotic. Right. Is that good? No. So the natural things of your body, it's been there since the beginning of time. I can't, my wife's going to get mad at me if I don't get too much deep into it, but my wife is a great teacher on it. It's about health, man, and immune systems. Do it right. Why pay $100 for a medication that you don't know is going to work? That's going to go through your kidneys, tear you all up inside. People don't realize that's what's happening. When I could put on an essential oil of purity, which is what we're all about, is complete purity, and I don't want to get into the numbers. She'll probably yell at me. For $35, I get a month or two's worth of that, as opposed to me spending $100 for a medication or what have you may be. That's just a little bit of it. But please,
we want to have Jenny. I think that what we'll do is, if Jenny wants, maybe she could come on Monday and we could talk about just about Open Road Essential Oils.
We would love that, because the world's got to change, and that's another thing changing. Well, everyone's complaining about pharmaceuticals. It's killing everybody. It is. It's killing everybody from the inside out.
And Joey, especially now with China, right? I mean, we know that the pharmaceuticals that we take come from China. We can't have that anymore. So it would. You don't know what
you're getting. It's the whole thing. I mean, come on. Yeah. Let's be smart. I mean, turn of the century. Yeah, when the medications come out, remember, we all use essential oils at the turn of the century. It was all natural remedies, right? And they worked. When it came out, just like the snake oil, I mean, I used that as a kid around. So someone came up with a pill, right? Yeah. Wait a minute. You don't got to take that time to make I use the word potion, put it together. That's going to work. But just take this pill. So, of course, everything comes down to fast, move, take. And, again, we can go on forever. I understand all that. Yeah. But as far as America, I mean, listen, everybody who's listening, and please tell everybody, who cares who you like or what party you're in? Think about it. Think about the country. Right now is where it sits, okay? I know that the protest is going on, but when it comes to the election, you know what I mean? Plain and simple, think about your family. Okay, because there's no one else going to take care of it the way the system is going right now with this president that we have. You know what I mean? He's not a politician. That's what we wanted, right? People may not like him, but he is it. He's calling everybody out. Okay, he's not crazy. Okay, and if he is, so what? But he's calling everybody out. We're all a little bit crazy, right? He's
you have to be crazy nowadays to want to be president. I'd rather have a president that's a little bit, arrogant and crazy than one that, doesn't even realize he's running for president. I mean, come on, you've got to just look at Joe Biden and say to yourself, How cruel could the Democrat Party be? Why don't they just run who they want to run for president? Run Camilla if that's who they want. Run Bernie if that's who they want. Don't do this to this man. I mean, this man, served as a senator for a long time. This is really tragic.
Without a doubt. I mean, he's the sacrificial lamb, plain and simple. Sacrificial lamb. I mean, of course, but again, I'm urging people in the country, stop. Yep. Think, okay? Put the politics, I know it sounds crazy, but put it aside for a second. Take the time in your home, look at your money, look at your pensions if you even have them anymore. That's the other thing. He's going to bring that back because people don't have pensions anymore. And when I got a 401k. You know what a 401k is? You can lose it in one day if the market takes a big kill.
That's
okay?
Right. That's right.
I'm fortunate to have a pension, pays in people behind me, what have you. It's a thing of the past. The whole system's completely screwed up. Yep. So think about your family. Put the politics aside. Look what the man's doing. Write him a letter. This is what's going to help you. Talk to your company. Yes, buy American products. It's coming back. Yes, we know it's a little bit more expensive. That will change. But you're paying for quality. Take care of your fellow man, without a doubt. But, again, I know I sound crazy, but that's just me. Take the politics aside. Take it off the table when it comes to Election Day and think about what is best for me and my family and my country financially, because nobody's going to take care of you if it takes a shit the other way.
Thank you, Joey.
Nobody.
And hi to Lucille Chavon, our #1 fan, is here. We're going to say goodnight now. And Joey, let's talk to Jenny and see if she'll come on Monday at 2 o'clock.
You have my word. She'll be there. She'll love it. Thank you. Listen.
Very good.
On Facebook, please, Biker Party group. Just got to answer a few questions. Come on in. We talk straight up. Some people might not like it. We're all about freedom of speech, but not freedom of hate. Come on out, just have a good time, and maybe we can turn this whole thing around in the world.
All right, Joe. Thank you so much for being our guest today. Everybody have a happy and safe 4th of July tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll see you Monday at 2 o'clock with Jenny Norak of Open Road Essentials. Bye, everyone.
Greatest country in the world, people. Bye.